gone down very well with Uddhav Thackeray in what is unprecedented, has never quite happened before. A political leader has now asked that the EC be dissolved. He's launched a scathing attack saying that the Ravan can never hold a Ram's Dhanush, talking about Eknath Shinde. Dragging the EC now to the Supreme Court, Uddhav Thackeray says he'll win the battle with any symbol, no matter what. However, the EC needs to be dissolved because it's a compromised institution, is what Uddhav Thackeray says.
शिवधनुष्य है जे रावणाला नहीं पेललं ते मिंद्याना काय पेलणार आहे.
धनुष्यबाण तो गिरवी रखा था उन्होंने. बाला साहब के विचार और ये धनुष्यबाण ये उनकी देन है, उसे तो हमने छुड़ाया है अभी.
The EC order giving the bow and arrow symbol and Shiv Sena name to Chief Minister Eknath Shinde camp, sparking a full-blown political war.
नाम और चिन्ह हमने अपने साथ जो गुलाम आए हैं उनको दे दिया, तो व्यक्ति बोले बहुत अच्छा, मोगैम बहुत खुश हुआ.
Staring at a survival crisis, Sena Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray chief Uddhav Thackeray launched the fiercest ever attack at the poll panel. CM Shinde and the BJP.
धनुष्यबाण आहे, चोरलेलं धनुष्यबाण आहे आणि मी तर आव्हान दिलेलं आहे की हे शिवधनुष्य आहे जे रावणाला नहीं पेललं ते मिंद्याना काय पेलणार आहे. जिन लोगों को हमने अपना माना, मित्र तो ठीक है, वो मित्र तो थे ही नहीं, लेकिन हमने हमारे परिवार के लोगों को जैसे हम संभालते वैसे हमने संभालने की कोशिश की. उन्होंने अपनी जो कहते हैं कि राजनीति में माँ शिवसेना, उसकी हत्या करे, उसका दर्द जरूर है. हत्यारा कोई और नहीं, वो हमारे घर का ही निकला, वही हमें दर्द है. ही परिस्थिती त्यांनी शिवसेनेवर लादण्याचा प्रयत्न केलाय. ही परिस्थिती उद्या देशातल्या कोणत्याही पक्षावरती ते आणू शकतात आणि आत्ताच जर का याचा मुकाबला केला गेला नाही तर कदाचित येत्या 2024च्या लोकसभेची जी निवडणूक आहे ती आपल्या देशातली शेवटची निवडणूक ठरू शकेल, कारण त्याच्यानंतर हुकुमशाहीचा नंदाना सुरू होऊ शकतो.
But an unfazed Shinde camp is slowly but steadily taking over. Sena symbol and name, Shinde faction took over Sena's Vidhan Sabha office. Amid reports of Shinde camp taking over the BMC office, the Mumbai police increased its surveillance at the civic body headquarters. And in another setback for Uddhav, the Supreme Court declined urgent mentioning of its plea challenging the poll panel order, asking it to list the case on Tuesday. Uddhav, in his plea in the top court, has demanded interim stay on the EC order, seeking status quo and relief till its plea is pending. It also accused the poll panel of failing in its duty. Shinde and Uddhav camps also locked horns over allegations of money deal to influence MLAs and buy the Sena symbol.
2000 कोटी आतापर्यंत खर्च झाले आहेत या व्यवहारात. शिवसेना हे नाव आणि धनुष्यबाण लेन देन हे कसे आले, कुठून आले, कसे खर्च केले, कोणाला दिले, कालपर्यंत हा व्यवहार चालू होता.
वो ज्योतिष है और ज्योतिष लोगों को ऐसा कोई बोलना नहीं लगता है, वो खुद अपने मन से निकाल देते हैं, तो और भी आगे आगे आंकड़ा बढ़ाएंगे.
The next Sena versus Sena face-off is likely to be over the control of the iconic Sena Bhavan and Shiv Sena funds. With Mustafa Sheikh in Mumbai, Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, viewers, as the aftermath of these political theatrics play on in Maharashtra and now in the top court of the country, let's cut across to our political guest this evening. Joining me is Chintamani Kharkhanis. He's the spokesperson of the Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray faction. I have Shaina NC, spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party. Rajdeep Sardesai, consulting editor, would be joining us shortly. But before we cut across to the both of you and our political panelists, with your permission, I want to go to former Chief Election Commissioner of India, Mr. Ropi Rawat. Mr. Rawat, appreciate you joining us, sir, as all our guests and panelists. My first question, what do you make of the charge leveled by Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, where he's, it's unprecedented if you look at it. Never have, at least, in my recent memory, I've ever heard where a political leader has actually called for the dissolution of the Election Commission. Have you gone through the EC's order in terms of protocol, in terms of past precedent? Do you think it's correct, or do you think somewhere down the line the EC could have ruled differently over allotting the name and the symbol to Eknath Shinde?
Actually, I have gone through the EC's order just 2 minutes back, and I find that according to the Reservation and Allotment of Symbols Order 1968, they have appreciated the facts and evidence presented before them, and they found that numbers of legislators and parliamentarians are in favor of Eknath Shinde group, and therefore they have decided, based on Sadiq Ali ruling of Supreme Court, in favor of Eknath Shinde group. I feel that it is based on whatever evidence has been given to them and whatever has been mentioned in the order, it appears to be okay. But since I am not privy to all that evidence, it should be taken in that light.
Mr. Rawat, tell us something. Now, Uddhav Thackeray in his press conference, many of the other spokespersons from his camp have come out and exceedingly said that, listen, shouldn't the Supreme Court have actually waited shouldn't the EC, in fact, have waited for the Supreme Court to pass its ruling on the disqualification process, and only then, come up and then award and go on through the whole process of giving the symbol and the party name to either factions? Do you see any merit in that, or do you think they are two very different institutions and they function differently?
Two separate proceedings under two different laws. There has no room to wait for anything. Like Supreme Court won't wait for Election Commission won't wait for Supreme Court, because these are two different matters under two different laws.
Final question, sir. What do you make, very, very caustic, unprecedented demand by Uddhav Thackeray, where he wants the EC dissolved? Do you see it just rancor, sour grapes, or do you see any merit in these charges?
Actually, whenever Election Commission acts as a referee in any electoral issue, any party issue, any problem, EC is generally taken as a punching bag by both sides, and EC takes it in their stride, and they follow the rules, regulations, laws, and the facts and evidence placed before them, because they have to deliver free, fair, and credible elections as well as the orders.
All right, appreciate you joining us, former EC there, Mr. Rawat. Thank you. I want to quickly cut across to our political guest this evening. Let's begin with Rajdeep Sardesai, consulting editor, in the studio with us. Rajdeep, unprecedented. So Uddhav Thackeray now coming out and saying that the EC needs to be dissolved.
I think Uddhav Thackeray is obviously decided that attack is the best form of defense. You look at the Samna editorial today. Again, very, very serious charges being made against the Election Commission, none of which can be proven. But you're obviously trying to create a political atmosphere where Uddhav Thackeray, Preeti, wants to suggest that he's being victimized, that the centre is conspiring against him, that institutions like the EC are working on the behest of the centre, and thereby he hopes to invoke some sympathy for himself, play victim, and also invoke Maharashtrian asmita, a sense of self-respect, that Maharashtra is being targeted by people outside Maharashtra, and the Shiv Sena of Balasaheb Thackeray is being hijacked by outsiders. So I think that's the aim ahead of the Mumbai municipal election, where dates are still not known. They've been delayed for almost a year now. We don't know when they'll be held, but ahead of that, I think Uddhav Thackeray has decided that attack is the best form of defense. let's play victim, let's play the Maharashtra Asmita card, and let's target the election commission.
Mr. Kharkanis, you know, the question is, you're saying that the EC is compromised, but as per protocol, as per precedent, even the Supreme Court, sir, has actually accepted, I'm going through that rule book only, that the EC is the only authority to decide the issue on a dispute or a merger under the order of Supreme Court upheld in its validity in the Sadiq Ali and another versus the ECI in 1971. It's the Supreme Court itself that had admitted that the EC can independently take action in terms of awarding the symbol and the party name to whichever party after it looks at various aspects of it. And we just heard the former EC as well. He says as per what he's read, it seems it's gone by past precedents and protocol.
I am sorry the voice is breaking.
So we're going to try and fix it. We'll come right back to you. Can we just get our producers to fix the audio sound of Mr. Kharkanis, and we're going to come right back. Shazia, Shaina NC, sorry, I beg your pardon. Shaina, the fact is,
Shaina.
I know, I'm sorry, I apologize. With what Rajdeep just said, Uddhav Thackeray might be now, and the Shiv Sena faction which is attached to Uddhav Thackeray might be going to town and bringing in regional pride, how this is a front to what Bala Sahib Thakeray's Shiv Sena was for. Somewhere down the line there must be a bit of doubt in terms of going into an election, because he could very well be riding the sympathy wave.
So Preeti, at the outset you have a political party where 40 of its MLAs choose to leave, and leave en masse, because they don't believe that the party is doing justice to the ideology. They don't believe that the leadership is accessible. They don't believe that the party is on the right path by succumbing to a value system of corruption of the Congress and the NCP, which is quite apparent. So you have 60 MLAs, of which you already have a mass exodus. You have members of parliament, out of which 13 elected from public at large choose to exit. The EC is only doing its job if they come up with a 78-page report saying that yes, there is a provision, a constitutional provision to say that if there is this majority in place, they should have the symbol. Now, I want to ask Shri Uddhav Thackeray ji and Mr. Sanjay Raut, you know, just going into this kind of a statement of trying to believe that, oh, this is a dictatorship, there was money which has shifted hands and that's why you've got this kind of a verdict, is absolutely untrue, and it is questioning the democratic institutions that we have. Okay. The Election Commission, quite rightly, as what the former panelist said, that if they say something, there will be an opinion. If they don't do something, there will be an opinion. But here the numbers speak for itself. I would only appeal that if you feel so vindicated and if you are believing in the honorable courts and you are going to the Supreme Court, hold your horses. What is the reason to have this salvo after salvo constantly saying these are traitors? The Bharatiya Janata Party can just as well say, you use Prime Minister Modi's photographs to win all these seats. You all are the traitors. We are not going down that road. We are saying, please believe that the people of this country have a referendum which is obviously going to be shown in this 26th February by-election, where we're going to seats, so we'll know who is actually the mandate of the people of Maharashtra.
Okay, but Shaina, one would have thought that the Shiv Sena actually uses the image of Bala Sahib Thackeray and not so much of Narendra Modi. But Mr. Kharkanis, if you can hear me right now, you heard a former panelist as well, who is a former EC, and he says it's well within the right of the EC to rule in whichever manner it deems fit after looking at all the affidavits. The Supreme Court itself has accepted the same in 1971.
My first question is, why there should be some hurry by the election commissioner for giving such verdict? Can you hear me?
Sir, we can hear you very well.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you very well, but These are two separate proceedings. We can hear you, sir. These are two separate proceedings. The Supreme Court is dealing with the matter on its own accord and the EC is dealing with its own accord. What was the hurry in it? They have looked at all the affidavits, they've come up with a conclusion.
But there was a case pending. There was case pending in front of Supreme Court, and the commissioner has given. Hello, can you hear me?
Mr. Kharkanis, we can hear you. I think there's a
cannot hear your
problem.
voice.
There's a problem with your audio. We're going to try and reconnect that. Rajdeep, I'm going to bring you right back into this conversation. Do you see, or, you know, because on Friday when we were talking of the symbol going to Eknath Shinde, there was a sense that the dust still hasn't quite settled on what is really going down in Maharashtra. How do you see things play out? The BMC elections, I would reckon, the litmus test, but so many by-elections coming in this year as well.
I think what is critical, Preeti, is who do the grassroots level leaders go with? In Mumbai, for example, we've seen most of the Shakha Pramukhs, the branch heads of the Shiv Sena, have by and large stayed with Uddhav Thackeray. If you go to Thane, they've gone to Eknath Shinde.
Right.
If you go to different districts of Maharashtra, you will find in some districts they've gone with Eknath Shinde, in others they've gone with Uddhav Thackeray. So the Sena is split badly. I wouldn't say it's split down the middle, but it is clearly deeply factionalized. And I don't think that these factions can be resolved only by an EC order. It's going to eventually be resolved by what happens in the election. Maharashtra over the next 18 months will have municipal elections across the state, by-elections that you spoke about, Lok Sabha elections
And multiple
Vidhan Sabha
by-elections, which are pretty much like a mini state election.
That's
of
right,
sorts.
but you see, even the municipal corporation elections in a very urbanized state, those elections also become like mini, a mini referendum. So I think you will settle this over the next 18 months. There will be turmoil. There will be people leaving the Uddhav Sena. There will be a few who might join it. The fact, what is the advantage that the Eknath Shinde camp has, Preeti? That मेरे पास क्या है, मेरे पास सरकार है, मेरे पास मशीन है, मेरे पास सरकार है, मेरे पास बीजेपी है, मेरे पास सेंटर है. Now उद्धव ठाकरे क्या कहे, मेरे पास बाला साहेब है. So he will rely on the emotional appeal of Bala Saheb Thackeray of being his son, but he's going to also have to practice a very different kind of politics, be much more communicative out there, meeting the Sainis.
But do you see him doing it? Do you see him doing it? Because still it's Uddhav Thackeray speaking from his high tower and, you know, the ivory tower of sorts, which he was accused of doing so earlier as well.
Yes, you see, he's going to have to change the way he's done politics. To be fair to him, I recall, I think it was 2012 in the municipal corporation elections then, Bala Saheb Thackeray was very ill and there was Uddhav Thackeray was in charge of the campaign and most people were writing off the Sena. The fact is the Sena did well. So I'm not going to write off anyone. I think it's wrong to write off any politician. But I get a sense that Uddhav Thackeray will have to have a complete change in the way his style of functioning, and so will Aditya Thackeray. As a younger member, he's going to have to go out there, constantly meet people, because morale is low.
True.
Morale is low, particularly after what's happened, and the advantage in that sense in the short term is with Eknath Shinde. But I'll tell you this. There is a sense also when Uddhav Thackeray speaks about betrayal, when Aditya Thackeray speaks about the khoke or the money that was transferred allegedly to pull down his government, he does get a spontaneous reaction. So there will be those within the core Sena cadre who will believe that if they can just ride out the next 6 months leading into the Mumbai Municipal Corporation, they can possibly still stage a comeback. So I would not rule out a comeback by the Shiv Sena, and the BJP also knows that. Whatever Shaina NC may say, the BJP is also conscious of the fact they cannot allow this Mahavikas Agadi, Shiv Sena, Congress, NCP to remain together leading up to the 2024 elections.
Shaina NC, the fact is there are a lot of political analysts who are seeming to suggest that maybe you can take the name Shiv Sena from Uddhav Thackeray, but you really can't take right now the Shiv Sainik, the dyed-in-wool cadre of Shiv Sena, which still somewhere down the line does ally with Uddhav Thackeray.
Preeti, what does the Shiv Sena stand for? What did Bala Saheb Thackeray believe in? He believed in Hindutva. He believed in justice to all and appeasement to none. He fought his life fighting the Congress and the NCP. And the then Chief Minister chose to go with the NCP Congress, forming an unholy alliance. This is what the cadre rejected. Why do you think there was this exodus of 40 MLAs? This is not 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 4 0, 40. And this is historic because they believed that their leader wronged and the ideology that they all stood for has been sunken.
Madam,
As far
that's
as
a
the
little
Bharatiya
rich because
Janata
if you
Party is
actually go down
concerned,
how it
whether
all
it's
happened,
Rajdeep, with
it
due
did
respect
happen.
to him or to you.
But no.
One minute.
Ma'am,
Let's
the way it happened, it didn't happen
let's
as...
not live in any fool's paradise. The Prime Minister is the most popular leader across the length and breadth of this country, including Maharashtra. And we all know that today, if the Bharatiya Janata Party has 11 crore members just as cadre, we're here to stay. So it is not as if we need to align or break or make, as has been said time and again.
No, the fact
so
is,
these constant questions that the Uddhav Thackeray faction says, Mogambo khush hua, and all these kind of dialogues, that's not going to deflect from the core work that we are here to do, which is only progress and
China
which is only under the leadership of the Prime Minister.
China and
so
the fact, no, 1 second.
24, we will see.
Let time tell, I would reckon that's a good one to go by. But having said that, if it was primarily that the cadre shifted because they didn't believe that Uddhav Thackeray stood for the ideology, ma'am, then it's a little strange because what was Mr. Ashish Sheller doing with your MLAs in Gujarat? Why were they all shifted to Assam? There's a lot that goes on. So it's not as simple as what you make it out to be. It wasn't, so clear that suddenly the MLAs got together and decided that it was against the grain of their ideology.
Can I ask a simple question to China NC? China NC, what has happened to all the ED cases against those who are part of the Eknath Shinde faction? From Pratap Sarnaik to the various others, what has suddenly happened? You see, this is the problem. I agree with you that 40 MLAs leaving the Shiv Sena is unprecedented. But the reasons for them are very different. Not all of them left because of Uddhav Thackeray's style of leadership. Some left because possibly they were coerced. Today, I think Maharashtra should know. What happens when the moment you shift sides from one side to the other, the BJP becomes a washing machine. We should know. Maharashtra citizens deserve to know what happened to the ED cases against those Shiv Sainiks who switched sides.
No, you're doing exactly what the Shiv Sena is doing. You're questioning independent agencies. The Shiv Sena chooses to question the Election Commission. You are questioning the Enforcement Directorate. If somebody else questions the CBI, that's not on. Please understand, this is a political coup of sorts where you have an entire party which is dissolved and then the Election Commission, based on the facts and the merits of how many representatives have come from the
China
MLA,
NC, you're right when you say it's a political coup of sorts. It was a political coup. That was very clear. But I don't think, ma'am, and I would hope, as somebody who stands for free and fair press, you will agree that nobody is above questioning. No institution in this country is above questioning, not even the office of the Prime Minister. Everyone can be questioned and should be questioned in this country. I'm just going to quickly cut across and take final comments. Mr. Karkanis, if you can finally hear me.
For the right reasons, not the wrong ones.
Ma'am, that is all right. Okay. We leave it.
Wanted to ask.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
I wanted to ask one question to Mrs. China. I wanted to ask one question to Mrs. China. Hello. I will read the name Pravin Darekar, Padankar, Vikhe Patil, Mohite Patil, Harshavardhan Patil. There are so many, there are 60 members of Rashtravadi Congress who joined BJP and now they are clear. Now they don't have any problem. The BJP doesn't have any problem with these people. Why this is so? It means when you go on adding copper in the gold, the ornament doesn't become an ornament of gold. It is an ornament of copper.
Sir, first you worry about who's left with you and why they have left you. Answer that question. It will be enough soul searching.
Okay. May I? Okay. May I? Okay. I'm going to just close the debate. Mr. Karkanis, we have a bit of an audio lag. Next time you're going to try and correct that. Yes. I appreciate you all for joining us. Thank you, Rajdeep. I'm sure the drama and the theatrics will continue in the days to come. Interesting to see how things develop. When will be the BMC elections? A big question mark there as well. Trust India Today to get you the front row seats to this political thriller. Thank you for watching. Up next is Rahul Kamal.
Can we really untangle the politics of hair? This art campaign by artist Rohit Chawla comes with a social commentary. This rebellious work with an interactive element challenges